Chapter 6: The Shadow Side. During a private coaching session, I had introduced my client to the whole concept of archetypes and led him through an exercise that helped him to connect with and release his sage in a very powerful way. The results were immediate and, he told me later, had made a huge difference in his relationship with his fiancée. As we rounded up, he asked me a very good question. Is it possible to have too much of one of these archetypes? What we focused on thus far have been the healthy, mature expressions of each archetype, emphasizing the good things that each one is naturally able and inclined to contribute. We wouldn't normally be concerned with anyone being too mature or too healthy, would we? But it is possible, in fact, we should acknowledge that it is actually very common for some of these archetypes to get out of balance, sometimes chronically. Something that Carl Jung recognized many years ago is that each of these archetypes also has a dark side, a characteristic set of negative behaviours that can cause real damage to both the individual and those within their circle of influence. It is often said that somebody's greatest strength is also their greatest weakness, and this phenomenon can be predicted very specifically for each archetype. This dark side will often arise with the purpose of meeting our personal needs as rapidly as possible, often when we are stressed or fearful. And it will manifest itself in one of two broad ways, either as too much of one of the archetype's traits or too little of it. To try and explain this, can you imagine each archetype being measured by its own thermometer? I think then you could grasp the idea of there being a moderate zone of temperature that would represent the healthy, mature archetypal traits that we've discussed thus far. But if the temperature were to rise above this zone, we'd say that the character is now getting overheated. And equally, if the temperature drops too low, the same character would become inactive, stifled, frozen in its expression. H2O. A similar metaphor that we might use for this is found in the various states in which we can experience water, H2O. Water is, of course, vital for every kind of life, yet it has to be at a moderate temperature for any living organism to benefit from it, because only then can we drink it, wash with it, or even give it to our plants. However, if the very same water becomes too hot, or too energized we could say, it can scald, burn, hurt, or even kill. Likewise, if it's frozen, it can't be absorbed, it can't nourish us, we can't even wash things with it. In this extreme state, it can also become a very destructive force. Turning to ice, it can block or burst our pipes, weigh down and break our power lines, paralyze our transportation, stifle our movements, immobilize our muscles, or even kill. So the very same substance can bring life within a certain range of temperature and can cause much damage when too far above or below this range. In exactly the same way, each of our archetypes can provide great benefits to us if expressed within a moderate, healthy range of temperament, and can equally do great damage outside of this range, either overheating or freezing. So if you want to get hold of the entire audio book, get over to Amazon or iTunes, just search for 3 words, Team Me Pad, and you should be able to find it easily enough. You might also want to get over to my website, team-me.biz, and sign up to download a number of materials, including audios, videos. You can see the written descriptions of these archetypes, excerpts from my book, all kinds of materials to help you on your way.